Morning, morning. I'm looking out from my little hut that I get every weekend when I'm working, and it's raining like almost like cats and dogs, so there's a big storm coming in. Anyways, it's about 7 o'clock in the morning, or 7:30 in the morning. I went to bed last night, 1 a.m., because I got off at work at midnight. Went to bed at 1 a.m. I woke up about 6:30. So that's what? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 5.5 hours of sleep. I was wide awake at 6:30. And pretty high level of energy. I have no complaints. I might have eaten a tad too much of avocado yesterday with my salad, which may, I don't really think so. I got onto the borderline as far as the 10% fat. Anyways, I wanted to start getting into this thing about what I eat in a day. By the way, my name's Trace Perot. This is going to be probably video number 5 or 6 on my channel. Channel is 20 at 70. How to be 20 at 70. And how to be 20 at 20 for that matter. Okay. So anyways, I follow what I call a tree-based diet. What grows on trees? Well, fruit. Lots of fruit. So anyways, I've had 31 years experience as a primarily raw vegan. At first it was cooked. I've had the last 15 years I've been on 80-10-10, which is a low-fat, raw, vegan, fruit-based diet. The point being that I have the energy, the stamina, the mental clarity, etc., of somebody who's 20 years old, and I will be 70 in about 5 months. So I feel that this information that I have, this experience that I have, is eminently important for people who are striving to have the optimal diet, to get the optimal results, to be disease-free, to have high energy, to people who want to achieve the goals that they want to achieve in life without having to resort to destroying their health, becoming overweight, becoming obese, and disease-ridden, and all those other things that most people do in order to survive and thrive. Okay, so that in a nutshell is what this is all about. It's for people who are doing the 80-10-10 diet, the low-fat raw vegan diet, or have just started it, or have recently started it within like the last year or two, and it's also for people who want to transition out of what they're eating, whether it be SAD or whether it be, cooked vegan or cooked vegetarian or a high-fat raw vegan. And that's who this is for. So I want to get into this whole idea of what I eat in a day, and I'm going to do this over a series of videos because it changes. And I live on the eastern side of the Big Island, so I come out here to work on the weekends. So my diet changes a little bit in terms of what I actually eat. So I got on a bus at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4:15 in the afternoon in Hilo, Hawaii, and spent 3 hours on the bus coming over to my place of work. And got here, had dinner, and I forget what I did. I rode my bike around town. I bring my bike over because I like to ride my bike, and Hawaii is a fantastic place to ride a bike. It's basically always warm, or within reasonably warm. Rain's not a big problem. You just outfit your bike and your person for rain, and you're ready to don your umbrella and your raincoat and whatever you need to keep dry, or pull over on the side of the road under a palm tree or something. and stay dry until the rain passes. Anyway, so I got up yesterday morning. What did I do? Okay, the first thing that was on my mind is that I hadn't brought any, a substantial amount of food over from the east side. So I did have dates, I had raisins, and that's about it really, as far as, the fruit goes. So I went out, rode my bike around town about 5 miles. I initially went down to the farmer's market to look for bananas, and there weren't any. They were all green. So my staple was taken away from me yesterday. So what I did was I went to the health food store and I invested in dry fruit. So the health food store is not open. It opens in about 10 minutes. And so I'm hanging out outside, which gives me a chance to talk a little bit about dried fruit. On the 80-10-10 schedule here, dried fruit is not exactly optimal. Dried, meaning it has less water, so it's less in the flow. However, there are lots of things you can do with dry fruit to hydrate it or mix it with something else. Today, since I can't get any bananas that are ripe, I'm going to buy dried figs. I'm going to buy raisins, and I'm going to possibly, I already have some dates back at the ranch, so I'm good to go there. I'll need quite a bit of them. A whole $5 canister of dates is equal to, I don't know, maybe a half a smoothie, half a banana smoothie. Anyways, this gives me an opportunity to bring up a point about raisins. Raisins, or dried grapes. Raisins are a big little secret for me that I discovered. Not only have I had 15 years of 80-10-10 experience, I spent 5 years in the only extant 80-10-10 community, which is located on Papaya Farms Road, called Kanakiki. And I spent 5 years living there, and that's a strictly raw, low-fat, raw vegan community. 80-10-10, Doug Graham was a member of it at one time. At any rate, when I was there, I discovered that the beauty of raisins. Okay, so raisins are something that you can soak in water overnight, and you can add to your smoothies. And what they do is they tremendously boost the calorie content of a smoothie. So, if you have a 900 calorie banana smoothie and you put a whole bunch of soaked raisins in there, not only does it make it very, very much sweeter, it adds a tremendous amount of calories. So it's a good way to go if you're, struggling to get that, the proper amount of fruit calories in your diet for the day. Figs are just flat out great. I mean, dried figs are like a candy. They're not as good as fresh figs, of course. Fresh figs are out of this world, probably one of the top 3 fruits you would want to eat. But dried figs are a good second. And they're not quite as dried as, say, straight raisins or dates. Dates can be actually quite moist. But figs are great munchy food. Figs and dates you can combine with apple slices and celery, which makes a great snack. And, believe me when I say I'm snacking all day long. In the morning, I'm snacking sweet fruit, like I'm doing, I'm hitting the bananas, I'm hitting whatever sweet fruit I can get a hold of. But as far as a snack food, I often go to dates and apples. The combination of the two is just wonderful. And then I have other snack foods that I hit after my sweet fruit period, which usually ends around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Anyway, so I'm going to pick up that stuff, and I will check back. I got raisins, more raisins, and I got a whole bunch of figs. I also bought asparagus, and I had a simple dinner last night, so I bought some other stuff there for dinner. Anyway, so I started the day off. How did I start the day off? Okay, I started the day off eating dried figs, which you can also soak, by the way, and which are much easier to digest, and I think a little bit better tasting if you soak them, for several hours. But I didn't have that luxury, so I just went ahead and started eating dried figs first thing in the morning. Organic, everything I eat is organic, and I combined that with some greens, in this case fresh asparagus. So I spent the morning eating figs and munching on asparagus, and I also yesterday morning bought a nice big bag of apples, which I consumed throughout the morning. So I was eating apples, which are a subacid fruit, so they combine very well with high-density sweet fruit in greens. They're very refreshing. When I got into eating dates a little later in the morning, I had some blonde dates, some beautiful blonde dates that are so delicious. I combine them with apple slices. That tends to moisturize the dates when they get into your stomach and make them easier to digest. So I had those three things primarily in the morning for breakfast, and that's pretty much what I ate all day until 2 o'clock. All right, which is my usual pattern. And I was kind of curious as to whether or not I would have enough energy just eating the dates and the figs, the apples, and the asparagus. Of course, the energy is going to come from the figs and the dates, and apparently I did, because I had no problems with energy all day long, and so I got enough calories. I may have gotten 2,000 calories, about the same as 2 big smoothies just from the fruit. Not the optimal thing. I love to have my smoothies in the morning with lots of bananas and whatnot, but that just wasn't available to me. I don't have a blender over here. So what happened at 2 o'clock? At 2 o'clock, I dropped the sweet fruit. Now, I want to say this about subacid fruit like apples. Although I stopped eating at 2 o'clock, I stopped eating the fruit, the sweet fruit, because I knew I had enough calories by that time. And also, I wanted that sweet fruit, which takes 3 to 4 hours to get out of my stomach before dinner. So that means I ate dinner around 6 p.m., approximately 4 hours after stopping the sweet fruit. Now, the beautiful thing about this diet and about subacid fruit is that you can drop the sweet fruit at 2, but you can keep eating subacid fruit right up until your dinner, okay? And you can keep eating the greens. So all afternoon from 2 to 6, I never lacked for something to munch on. This is kind of my style. I kind of eat all day long. Sometimes I'll eat a meal, and if I have some big project I'm working on, I won't munch on anything for several hours. But in this case, it was convenient for me to keep munching on things, so I kept munching on apples and asparagus, and possibly a little romaine lettuce that I had. So that held me out. I was very satisfied all day long. By the time 6 o'clock rolled around, I had a salad. The salad was very simple. It was romaine lettuce, tomatoes, the greens of green onions. I never eat the actual white onion part of the green onion because it's far too stimulating. So I just cut that off and I throw the rest in the compost pile, and I eat the greens, which are actually, I think, more tastier than the white part of the onion. So I ate the green onions. And this time around I had 2 fairly small avocados, one of which I ate straight up, and the other one I made into a dressing with tahini with lime juice. So I mixed the lime juice with the avocado, mashed it up. I put that on the lettuce and the tomatoes and the green onions, and then I left a little in the mixing bowl so I could dip crimini mushrooms and eat the mushrooms as an appetizer. Salad was big. It's a big, large bowl, probably enough that you would serve at a conventional table. You'd divide between about 5 people. And so that was my dinner. I experienced a little bit of an energy lull after that dinner, just because of the quantity of the food that I ate for dinner. It wasn't a major problem, but, you know, by 9, 10 o'clock, I started eating sweet fruit again, right? Because I had several things I needed to do between 9 and midnight when I got off. So I started eating the sweet fruit again. So in that period, the 3 hours after the dinner that I ate, was kind of a lower energy, mellow period. So I didn't plan on doing anything that required a lot of energy, right? I could have easily gone for a bike ride if I wasn't working, or had worked out, or, you know, done the exercises that I usually do, or who knows, played football, soccer, whatever, during those 3 hours. But, you know, since I was working, I went ahead and just stayed fairly mellow. And then around 9 o'clock, I started eating the sweet fruit again. By that time, the dinner, which included the fat, which was the avocado, which you never want to mix with sweet fruit, basically. So I stayed at 9. I started eating the sweet fruit again, and I had a big boost of energy. And for the next 3 hours, I was very productive. This is kind of a neat trick. When you eat a dinner earlier in the day, and you wait the 3 hours, you get this. You know, you can go back to eating what you ate for breakfast. Okay, which is the sweet fruit, subacid fruit, greens, and you get this tremendous boost of energy, right? I mean, it's almost instantaneous. And so I did that. I got off at noon. I actually managed to get to sleep by 1 a.m. And I woke up at 6:30, pretty vibrant, little, sleep hungover for 15 or 20 minutes when I first got up. And so here I am the next morning. So that's what I ate in a day. Okay. I will say this, there were many things that I put in that salad that I didn't have access to. I didn't bring them over this time, either because I didn't go to the store when I was on the east side or whatever. But, I almost always put things like beets, shredded beets in my salad, peppers, yellow, red, and orange peppers, flaxseed, and I use tahini and lime dressing and add flaxseed to that. So that's just 2 seeds you're combining. So it's not 2 different sources of fat. It's the same source of fat from seeds. You don't want to mix the seeds with avocado. Those are 2 different sources of fats that shouldn't be mixed, basically. So, so there were several things that weren't in that salad, like cabbage, red and green cabbage, the cruciferous vegetables that I eat almost every day. I won't go into what the benefits are of these things, but they're tremendous. They're all over the internet. You can look up, the benefits of cruciferous vegetables. I'm not going to recite them out because basically I can't remember them, but I know they're good. They're fantastic for you. That's what I tend to do. I'll listen to a video and it convinces me that I should be eating some walnuts. And, the reasons for doing that, if I did make the decision to eat a food because I've understood that it's beneficial for you from studies that somebody has done that look credible to me, then I will eat that food, and I won't necessarily remember the ins and outs of exactly what that food does for you. Okay? I know beets are tremendously beneficial for you. I know, and so on and so forth. So hopefully today's little exercise will give you a clear illustration of what it's like to live on a low-fat, raw vegan diet and the benefits thereof, which are numerous. High energy all day, didn't contribute anything to the possibility of chronic disease or sickness, or maintaining a very high level of health, getting sunshine, eating local food, eating all organic food, not causing any animals to suffer, not contributing to the billions of animals slaughtered, murdered, and tortured every hour, every minute of every day across the world. So there are tremendous benefits from this kind of lifestyle. If you are still in the standard American diet, SAD, do what I did. Start learning about food combining. You don't have to give up anything. You don't have to give up your steak, your fish or whatever. You don't have to give up anything. But you will. You will. Once you start food combining, your body gets sensitive to what you put in it, and that's really what you want. You want your body to tell you, yes or no. And that's what it did for me. As I started as a vegetarian, it takes you to a plateau, and then you have to say, okay, I'm going to stay at this level, or I'm going to go further. And your body's going to want you to go further. But take the first step. Learn about food combining. Buy the book called Fit for Life by Harvey and Marilyn Diamond. Right up front, they tell you don't have to give up anything you eat. Okay? It'll introduce you to all kinds of great concepts from natural hygiene, which is the appellation that was given to this back in the 60s, this type of lifestyle, or a close proximity thereof. So, what else can I say? I mean, I don't know. Is this normal what I did today for a 70-year-old? Not really. I'm finishing a 12-hour workday. I got up at 7 o'clock. I did 2 hours of exercise. Never got in a car. I don't know. Do most 70-year-olds do that? Anyways, I hope you got something out of this. There are many aspects to this diet. There are many things to talk about. And I hope to continue to develop this over the next few months, and hopefully get the message out to people. If you are suffering from chronic disease of some sort, if you've got like chronic fatigue, if you have diabetes, if you have cancer, if you have, any of these things, you need to make a decision, and that decision is: are you going to go the natural route, the route that's going to cure you, or are you going to let the doctors try to do it with drugs? I absolutely guarantee that if you wind up doing what I'm doing, you will have a tremendous change in your health. They already have identified, there have been many cases of people on the 80-10-10 diet getting over very serious diseases, including things like autism and psychological problems. It's like, okay, when was the last time somebody on 80-10-10 killed somebody, or was put in prison for violence, or fought in a war, or, all those things that people that really have deficient psychological makeup engage in. It just doesn't happen. Needless to say, if we were all low-fat raw vegans or even vegetarians, there wouldn't be any wars. And there probably wouldn't be any violence. So anyways, I just wanted to chime in and hope that you all got something out of that, and especially some enjoyment, because you have to enjoy life. I will be doing more videos, hopefully a couple a week, and you can tune in, and I'll try to address as many topics as related to these to my lifestyle as possible. Anyway, so that's that. Now I would like to get have a little session about yoga. Yoga is something I've been doing ever since I turned plant-based in 1990. I did it because I was interested in jazz dancing, and I wanted to be as flexible as a ballet dancer, which to this day I've pretty much maintained. According to how many times during the week I do yoga, I pretty much have the flexibility of a ballet dancer. All right, at 70 years old, and I still do take jazz dance classes because I love to dance, and it's very physical, it's very creative, it's very challenging. I just finished two classes at the University of Hawaii, that were jazz dance classes. So I was out there on the floor. There was nobody else besides the instructor in those classes that was over the age of probably 26. All right. So I passed both those classes with an A in each class, I'm not bragging about this. I'm saying that because of my diet, because of my dietary lifestyle, because of the fact that I stay in shape, I was easily able to maintain the energy level of a group of jazz dancers who were 26 years old and under, college students, okay? Now, if you've ever seen a jazz dance class, or if you've ever witnessed full-on jazz dancing, it is extremely energy demanding. It's very high energy, high level of energy. It's also physically probably one of the most physically demanding things that you can do. You don't get beaten up like you do if you play football or soccer or whatever, but you get it. You do extreme things with your body, right? And so, like I said, I had no trouble maintaining the energy level and keeping up with this class, excelling in this class that was full of 26-year-olds and under. Voila, 20 at 70, that's what I'm talking about. I expect to be jazz dancing right up into the age of 100 and beyond, quite frankly. And I expect to maintain this flexibility of a ballet dancer for the rest of my life. Assuming I do yoga at least 2 or 3 times a year. So back to the yoga. Started doing yoga and immediately picked up a book by B.S. Ayangar, who was the foremost proselytizer of yoga from India into the United States, into the modern industrial world. He was the guy that did it. He brought it in. His form of yoga is called Ayangar Yoga. In its pure form, it is it's pretty complex and fairly demanding. I find it to be a joy. I find it to be an incredible meditation. Of course, it keeps you from getting injured in all the other things that you might be doing, whether it be gardening, whether it be lugging stuff around on your farm, whether it be playing football or going surfing or whatever. I mean, playing tennis, jazz dancing. Yoga is one of those things that maintains your body's condition to excel at a lot of other physical things, okay? The other thing that I do is called heavy hands walking, which is another one of those foundational staying in shape activities that makes everything, all the other physical activities you do, easy in terms of cardio capacity, okay? So, and I will have another video about that particular form of exercise, which, like many things that I have discovered, nobody knows about, or so few people know about, that it's totally insignificant, but that every professional athlete on this planet should be doing. You know, kind of funny. Anyway, so I started yoga and I got right into BKS Iyengar, I can't remember his name. Mr. Ayangar passed away, unfortunately, several years ago at the age of 93. He was a lacto-ovo vegetarian, as many Indians are. He's probably the world's most prominent yoga instructor. And check him out on YouTube. When he was a younger man, or even an older man, he was still doing all these fantastic things. So those are the benefits I do. You know, I'm not going to make this an instructional video about yoga, but I will do a few things, which I don't know if there's any 70-year-olds around that could do this stuff. You know, like this is called Bada Padmasana, which is the Padmasana, leg over leg position, and then Bada, which means in Hindu means bound. So you bind yourself by swinging your arm around and grabbing your foot, and then swinging your other arm around and grabbing your foot, your two big toes, okay, and you get in this position, straighten up your back, take some deep breaths, and then you bend over all the way down to the floor, putting your head on the floor. Take several deep breaths. And you come up. Okay, so what this does is the heels of your feet are pressing into your abdomen. So they're massaging your abdomen, right? I mean, what can I say? You're getting massage of your abdomen, your abdominal muscles, so you're working towards an internal kind of massage. With a lot of yoga is about that. It's about going in deep into your muscles and your skeleton and manipulating those around and exercising them and straightening them out and whatnot. Okay. From this position, and I don't recommend trying this position at all unless you're an experienced yogi. I'm just sort of demonstrating where the yoga thing has gone for me, and hopefully inspiring people to take it up. So there's other things you can do from this position. First of all, you can do, I forget what this is called, but you can go up on your wrists. Your hands are flat on the ground, you go up on your wrists, you hold that position. And this is a tremendously good stretch for your wrists and your fingers and your hands, okay? So you're putting your hands flat on the ground. Here, I'll tilt this so you can see a little better. Flat on the mat, like this, and you're putting all of your weight on your wrists, your bent wrists, okay? For me, because I'm a lifelong guitarist, okay, I want to avoid getting carpal tunnel syndrome. I want to avoid the things that a lot of people that I know who play guitar are experiencing at ages over 50 and such, which is the numbing of their hands and the difficulty of clutching the neck of the guitar, okay, because they have carpal tunnel, from too much use. So, this is something I want to avoid, and that is one of the exercises that you can do to avoid that. Another one, which is even better, is the one where you project your hands through your crossed legs, and then you go up on your hands like this. This one is like the next degree of what I just showed you before. This one gets so deep into your hands and your wrists, your fingers, your palms. Just stretches them out. And then you drop. So that's another variation. I will show basically how you sort of manipulate yourself into Padmasana. So I'll show you the degrees of Padmasana. We'll just hang around Padmasana this time around. So what you want to do is you want to go bring your leg up into your crotch, and you want to lift it straight up. You don't want to pull it back from here, okay? You want to lift it straight up, just get that feeling of lightness, and then pull it over, right? Then you want to bring your other leg into what they call, what is it? Artapadmasana, which is the half lotus position. So you're not in full lotus, you only have one leg up. Of course, if you want to do this with both legs, you do the other leg as well, if that's where you're going. Okay, so once you're crossed, then you can lift and pull your other leg up, and then you're in Padmasana, okay? The preliminary poses for Padmasana are this is Arta Padmasana. This is where you take one leg, put it up, and you just work with the one leg up. You can lean over at that point, You still get the massage in the gut, only you're not doing the full Padmasana. You're getting a stretch in your leg. You're getting a stretch in your lower back. The next degree is when you take your arm and you fling it around and you grab your foot. Okay, this is a little bit more. You can feel your heel going deeper into your abdomen. Pull your head down on your knee and you stay there for a few minutes. Breathe nice and deeply. I have to say this is one of the most pleasant, freeing, energy and body freeing pose that I do. And then you come up and then you reverse it. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring your arm around, and it's good to fly it around because that extra little stretch from the flight is going to get you around. So here we go. So you bring it all the way around, grabbing your shin. You may have to use it over there if you haven't done it for a while like I've done. So I've got my right hand on my left shin, and you're twisting from the base of your spine forward. And you're breathing. Your breathing's going to increase to a rapidity, and you'll start to hear it. Okay, and you hold that, 30 seconds to a minute. You've stretched your shoulder, you've stretched your knee, your left knee, you've stretched your left arm, and your lower spine, and then you slowly come out of it. So, you do that on both sides. I'm just going to do it quick on the other side. And so we go down, and we go reverse it, and lift down your arm. All you can see is my foot. And there. So like I said, don't do these if you haven't done a lot of yoga. I just really, there are so many benefits to yoga. I just wanted to bring that in. And the third pose for your wrists. I don't know if you're a typist or I've seen many craftspeople who develop problems with their wrists, their hands, and their fingers, partly due to their diet because of, arthritis, but also due to the repetitive motion. And, this is very important to you in your life. You don't want to lose the flexibility and physical ability of your fingers and your hands and your legs. So anyway. So I'm going back into Padmasana, then I'm coming over into which is called a variation of Simasana, which is this is actually called Padmasana and Simasana, and Simasana means the lion pose. So in this pose, you're stretching out your lower back and your upper body as well. You're pulling away your upper body from your lower body. You're opening your mouth and you're breathing out like a lion. This is incredibly good for your speaking ability. You know, you're stretching out your mouth and your tongue and you know, exercising that whole part of your face, right? So from here, I turn my wrists in. So I'll put the video back down so you can see that. I turn my wrists in like this, or out, I'm sorry, out, putting them together. Okay? I'm still in Padmasana, as you can see, my foot back there. And then I bend my elbows, and I put my elbows right into my gut, and then I lift my legs up so I'm on a plane. Once again, massaging the abdomen and getting an incredible stretch for the wrists. And also building up the lower back muscles, okay, which are so important for maintaining your back health. I used to do a lot of landscaping when I was in my 20s, working my way through college, and you know, my back would go out every now and then, and it would be pretty excruciating. And then I learned that there are these muscles in your back that if you stretch yourself, if you exercise those muscles and you pull up, you know, you get in these positions where you're pulling your legs back and pushing on your abdomen and pulling your upper body back. It's kind of a variation of Dhanurasana, which is like this, but this is without holding hands. You're just lifting your legs and your upper torso, pressing your stomach against the floor. This will maintain, this will keep you from throwing out your back. It'll make your back muscles strong. I do it maybe 2-3 times a week as part of a yoga routine. And that keeps me from screwing up my back. That's one of the things I do. So, and of course on that pose that I just did, which I forget what the name of it is, I do that every week a couple times. That's just an amazing stretch for your hands. I mean, so, you know, basically I just demonstrated about 4 different stretches that will keep you from getting carpal tunnel syndrome or any kind of, you know, malfunction in your wrists. Yeah, so that's probably about all I wanted to show this time around. Maybe next, if I get into this yoga thing in conjunction with the food, I'll start at a more basic level. But I did want to demonstrate. I'm just going to do the splits. I did want to demonstrate the fact that, you know, getting old is primarily a myth. I mean, there, you know, in terms of, you know, physicality and whatnot. I mean, of course, you do age a little bit, but you know, like I said, I'll be maintaining the flexibility of a ballet dancer probably for the rest of my life, which, you know, is kind of unheard of. But I would just like to show you all that, yes, indeed, this is what you can do. so that being said, I will end this video. Thank you for watching. This is plant-based 20 at 70, or 20 at 70 plant-based. I should have named it 20 at 70 tree-based. This is video about number 5. And I do suggest if you're just starting to watch these videos, you start from number 1. Because it's a bit of a progression. And yeah, so, you know, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. And yeah, I'll be back with you with another video not too far from now.